Only the chosen woman have these 7 marks, beloved. I want to speak to someone today who has felt misunderstood, overlooked, or underestimated. You have walked through storms that others could not survive. You have cried tears that no one saw, yet something within you refused to break. There's a reason for that. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. And the chosen woman carries signs, divine marks that heaven recognizes even when earth ignores them. Listen carefully, because what I share with you today will not only help you identify those marks, but will also awaken the power of God that's been lying dormant inside you. If you stay with me till the end, you will begin to see your pain, your past, and your process through the lens of divine purpose. The first mark of a chosen woman is divine selection. Before you were even born, God whispered your name into destiny. You were not picked by chance. You were chosen by purpose. That's why you never fit in with the crowd. Because heaven never designed you to blend in. You are a vessel separated, sanctified, and set apart for a higher calling. The second mark is the fire of faith. The chosen woman doesn't escape the fire. She is refined by it. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every loss became the furnace where her spirit was purified. Her faith has scars, but those scars are proof that she survived what was meant to destroy her. When others gave up, she stood. When others ran away, she prayed. When others doubted, she believed. The third mark is the heart of intercession. The chosen woman knows how to travail in the spirit. She doesn't gossip. She groans in prayer. She doesn't fight back with words. She fights back on her knees. Her tears are not wasted. They are liquid prayers before God. Through her intercession, chains break, destinies are restored, and nations are healed. The fourth mark is the spirit of wisdom and discernment. The chosen woman doesn't live by sight. She lives by revelation. She can sense the shift in the atmosphere before it happens. When others are confused, she carries peace. When others are deceived, she sees through the fog. Her discernment protects her, her wisdom elevates her, and her humility keeps her grounded. The fifth mark is the mantle of influence and grace. Wherever she goes, favor follows. Doors open, not because of who she knows, but because of who she carries. The chosen woman walks into a room, and the atmosphere changes. People are drawn to her, not because of her beauty or voice, but because of the divine presence resting upon her. She is a walking testimony of grace, a living altar of God's power. And though there are 7 marks, these 5 reveal something deeper, that being chosen is not about status, it's about surrender. It's not about being perfect, it's about being purified. The chosen woman doesn't seek recognition, she seeks revelation. She doesn't chase platforms, she builds altars. So if you have been through fire, if you have been misunderstood, if you have carried burdens that no one else could carry, rejoice. You may just be one of those chosen women heaven is raising in this generation. Stay with me till the end of this message, because in the coming moments, I will unveil the remaining marks, the ones that will confirm what your spirit already knows. You are chosen, anointed, and appointed for such a time as this. Before the foundation of the world, before the first breath of creation ever filled the universe, heaven already whispered your name. You were not a coincidence that appeared in time. You were a divine idea spoken by God Himself. The chosen woman is not defined by where she was born, what she has, or what others say about her. She is defined by divine selection. There is a heavenly seal upon her life that sets her apart even when she doesn't fully understand why. From her earliest days, there has been something different about her, something that made her feel out of place among others. While other women may strive for attention or recognition, the chosen woman carries an inner awareness that she was never created for the ordinary. Her destiny was woven in eternity's fabric, and her steps, though often painful and confusing, are divinely ordered. When a woman is chosen, she doesn't choose her calling chooses her. She can't escape it, even when she tries. There are moments she may wish to live a simple, quiet life, but divine purpose keeps stirring within her heart like fire, shut up in her bones. She faces battles that others don't understand, Because her warfare is not ordinary, it's connected to her assignment. Every attack, every disappointment, every rejection becomes evidence of the mark she carries. Heaven doesn't waste energy on accidents. If your life has carried unusual pressure, it is a sign that your destiny carries unusual weight. The chosen woman is not chosen because she is perfect. She is chosen because she is willing to be shaped. Divine selection often comes wrapped in seasons of loneliness. The chosen woman learns early that she cannot walk with everyone. People come and go, not because she is unworthy, but because her path is narrow and holy. She discovers that her heart cannot find satisfaction in the shallow things of the world. Her soul longs for something more, something eternal. She can't dance to the rhythm of the world's noise because her spirit is tuned to the voice of heaven. Sometimes she doesn't even understand herself, why she feels deeply, why she dreams so vividly, why she senses things others overlook. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is a sign of calling. She is not designed to fit in, but to stand out as a vessel of divine purpose. To be chosen means to be separated. There are seasons when God hides her, when doors close without reason, when she feels forgotten. But in that hiddenness, heaven is working. Diamonds form in darkness, and oil is pressed from olives only under pressure. The chosen woman learns to trust God's silence as much as His voice. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every closed door is shaping her into who she was meant to become. Divine selection is not a crown of comfort. It is a call to surrender. It demands faith when there is no evidence, obedience when there is no applause, and perseverance when there is no support. When God chooses a woman, He gives her a purpose greater than herself. She becomes a carrier of His vision on earth. Her words bring healing. Her hands carry compassion. Her presence releases peace. People may overlook her outer form, but heaven recognizes her spirit. Even when she walks into a room unnoticed, the atmosphere shifts because she carries something unseen yet undeniable. Divine favor. The chosen woman doesn't chase opportunity. Opportunity recognizes her because of the anointing she bears. She may not have everything figured out, but she walks with quiet confidence, knowing she is backed by heaven. Her journey is often marked by contradictions. High calling but humble circumstances, great promise but long waiting, deep love yet frequent rejection. These are not punishments, they are proofs of her selection. The fire refines her, the storms train her, and the isolation prepares her. When others break, she bends and prays. When others quit, she endures. That endurance becomes her testimony. And though the world may not see it yet, heaven already celebrates her. The chosen woman does not need validation from people because she carries confirmation from God. She may stumble, but grace lifts her. She may weep, but purpose strengthens her. So if you have ever felt different, if life has forced you through seasons of confusion, and if your heart has cried for meaning amid pain, it is not because you are forgotten, it is because you are chosen. Heaven saw something in you before the world ever saw you. Divine selection is not earned, it is entrusted. And when you realize that you are chosen, you stop chasing approval and start walking in assignment. You begin to understand that every struggle was training, every tear was watering your destiny, and every silence was God's way of saying, I'm preparing you for something greater. The chosen woman may walk alone, but she never walks without purpose. She carries eternity within her. And when her appointed moment comes, all that was hidden will be revealed, and all that was painful will make sense. The fire of faith is the second mark that separates a chosen woman from the rest. Her faith is not the kind that lives in comfort. It is the kind that survives in fire. The chosen woman's journey is often marked by trials that test the very foundation of her belief. She doesn't simply talk about faith. She has lived it, wrestled with it, and held on to it in the darkest nights of her soul. There are seasons when everything around her seems to crumble, yet something inside her refuses to let go. That something is divine fire, the invisible force that keeps her standing when the storm is too strong and the road too long. Her faith has been tried in the furnace of affliction, and what remains is pure, unshakable trust in God. She has learned that faith is not proven in sunshine but in storms. When everyone celebrates her victory, they do not see the secret battles she fought alone, the nights when her tears became her prayers, the days when she smiled while her heart was breaking, the moments when doubt screamed louder than hope, but she chose to believe anyway. The fire of faith burns away what is shallow and leaves only what is real. It purifies her motives, strengthens her spirit, and teaches her dependence not on people, not on circumstances, but on God alone. She knows that real faith is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep walking even when fear whispers that she cannot make it. Every chosen woman faces a defining moment when faith becomes her only anchor. It may come through a loss, a betrayal, a delay, or an unanswered prayer. It is in that moment that her faith is refined. She realizes that God is not trying to destroy her. He is developing her. The fire is not punishment, it is preparation. It reveals what cannot be shaken and removes what does not belong. The chosen woman understands that comfort never grows character. And without the test, there is no testimony. So she stops asking, why me? And begins to say, use me. Her perspective shifts from pain to purpose. What once felt like breaking now feels like molding, and what once seemed like the end becomes the beginning of something greater. The fire of faith produces endurance. When others give up halfway, she keeps pressing on. Her strength doesn't come from her own power, but from the presence of God that walks with her through the flames. Just like gold is refined in heat, her spirit is refined in hardship. She emerges not bitter but better, not fragile but fearless. The fire doesn't destroy her. It defines her. It teaches her that miracles are born not in comfort zones but in crucibles. And because she has been through fire, she carries authority when she speaks. Her words carry weight because they come from experience, not theory. When she encourages others, her voice trembles with authenticity because she knows what it means to believe when belief hurts. Through every test, the chosen woman learns to see God differently. Before the fire, she knew Him by name. After the fire, she knows Him by presence. Before, she had information. Now she has revelation. She has seen God make a way where there was none, turn mourning into strength, and transform ashes into beauty. That experience gives her a calm confidence, even when life shakes again. She doesn't panic easily anymore because she remembers the last storm she survived. The fire has taught her to recognize divine timing. She no longer rushes what God is still refining. She no longer doubts His silence because she understands that silence is often the sound of His work. The chosen woman's faith becomes contagious. People around her draw strength from her endurance. They see peace on her face and wonder how she carries it after all she has endured. What they don't realize is that the peace she carries was born in fire. It is not borrowed. It was built through surrender. Her faith lights a flame in others, reminding them that God can be trusted even when life cannot. She becomes a living testimony that trials do not define destiny. Faith does. The very things meant to break her became the foundation of her strength. And though she may not boast about her faith, heaven recognizes her endurance. Every time she chooses to trust when she cannot trace God's hand, angels take notice. Every time she praises through pain, the heavens echo her song. The chosen woman understands that faith is not about seeing the promise. It is about believing in the promiser. She walks with quiet assurance, knowing that the same God who allowed the fire will walk her through it and bring her out shining brighter than before. Her faith is not borrowed. It is branded into her soul. She has been through enough to know that God never fails, and that conviction becomes her crown. She no longer fears the fire. She embraces it, for she knows it is the place where her faith becomes unbreakable and her destiny unstoppable. The chosen woman carries something that the world cannot see, but heaven recognizes, a heart of intercession. It is not simply a habit of prayer. It is a burden of the Spirit that dwells within her. She feels deeply for others, sometimes more than for herself. When she prays, it is as though her heart is being poured out before God. Her words carry weight because they are born from compassion, not performance. She doesn't pray to be heard by people. She prays to touch heaven. There are nights when she wakes up for no reason, yet her spirit knows exactly what to do. She begins to pray, not always knowing for whom or for what, but sensing that someone, somewhere, needs divine intervention. That is the mark of an intercessor, to stand between heaven and earth and allow the Spirit to flow through her as a vessel of mercy. The chosen woman's prayers are not weak whispers, they are spiritual warfare. She knows how to fight battles on her knees, when storms rise in her family, when confusion surrounds her community, when darkness tries to claim her children or loved ones. She doesn't run in fear, she bends in prayer. Her strength is not in her voice, but in her surrender. She carries an unseen authority because she has learned to weep and war in the secret place. The tears she sheds are not wasted. They are seeds planted in heaven's soil. Every tear becomes a testimony. Every cry becomes a command in the spiritual realm. Her pain becomes her prayer language, and her persistence becomes her power. This heart of intercession does not develop overnight. It is formed through seasons of brokenness. The chosen woman has been through her own valley of pain, and that pain gave birth to compassion. She understands suffering because she has lived through it. That is why when she prays for others, she does so with sincerity and empathy. She doesn't pray from pride. She prays from understanding. She knows what it feels like to be desperate, to wait for answers, to need divine help when no one else could help. And because of that, her prayers carry life. Heaven listens because she prays with the heart of one who has walked through fire and come out still believing. Her intercession goes beyond her own circle. Chosen woman carries nations in her spirit. She can be in her home yet praying for children in another country, for revival in cities she has never visited, for deliverance in families she has never met. That is the mystery of divine intercession. Her spirit is connected to heaven's agenda. She prays according to the will of God, not her own desires. Many may not understand why she spends hours in prayer, why she feels such an urgency to seek God's presence, but that's because they cannot see the spiritual battle she perceives. Her sensitivity is divine, her compassion is prophetic. She stands as a bridge between what is and what must be, calling forth things that are not yet seen into existence. When the chosen woman intercedes, she becomes a gatekeeper of blessing. She pushes back the forces of darkness with her prayers. She holds the line when others grow weary. Her prayers become the shield that protects her family, her community, and even those who mock her. She doesn't need recognition, for her strength is not for display. It is for destiny. She is like a secret soldier in the kingdom, fighting unseen wars, shifting atmospheres, and birthing miracles that others may enjoy but never understand the price she paid. She knows that prayer is not always comfortable, that sometimes it demands tears, waiting, and spiritual warfare. Yet she never gives up, because deep inside she knows that God hears. Even when He seems silent, there is a tenderness in her relationship with God. When she prays, she doesn't rush, she communes, she speaks, but she also listens. She has learned to discern the voice of the Holy Spirit, a whisper, a burden, a nudge that says, pray now. And when she obeys, things begin to shift. The chosen woman has learned that her prayers are powerful, not because of who she is, but because of who listens. That realization fills her with humility and boldness at the same time. She may look fragile to the world, but in the spirit, she is a warrior. Sometimes her intercession brings her to tears for people who never thank her, for situations that seem hopeless, for souls that seem lost. Yet she doesn't stop. Her reward is not earthly recognition. It is the peace of knowing she has obeyed heaven's call. She finds joy not in being seen, but in knowing that God has heard. Her heart beats in rhythm with the heart of the Father. She rejoices when others are healed, restored, and delivered, even if no one knows she prayed for them. The chosen woman's intercession is the secret power behind many victories. Where others see coincidence, she knows it was divine response. Where others celebrate breakthrough, she silently thanks God for answered prayer. This is her ministry. Not loud, not glamorous, but powerful. She walks with quiet authority because she knows the strength of her communion with God. And though she may not wear a crown on earth, heaven recognizes her as one of its fiercest warriors. A woman whose heart beats with mercy, whose voice carries power, and whose prayers move mountains. The chosen woman carries within her a spirit of wisdom and discernment that cannot be explained by education, experience, or age. It is not something she learned, it is something she received. This wisdom flows from intimacy with God, from quiet moments in His presence where understanding is birthed in stillness. She does not make decisions out of impulse or emotion. She waits, she listens, and she discerns. There is a calm confidence in her steps, because she knows that not every door that opens is meant to be entered, and not every voice that speaks deserves her attention. The chosen woman moves with precision, guided by divine insight rather than public opinion. Her discernment is like a compass that keeps her steady in a world full of confusion. She has learned through experience that not everything good is from God. Opportunities can be distractions in disguise, and not every friend carries pure intentions. Her discernment acts as her protection. While others may be deceived by appearances, she sees beneath the surface. Her eyes may look natural, but her vision is spiritual. She perceives motives, senses danger before it appears, and feels the atmosphere of a place long before words are spoken. This gift often makes her misunderstood. People may call her cautious or distant, but in truth, she is discerning. She listens to the whispers of the Spirit, and if peace leaves her heart, she knows to pause. That inner knowing becomes her greatest safeguard against the traps of the enemy. The spirit of wisdom within her makes her a woman of divine timing. She understands that rushing can ruin what waiting would reveal. So she learns patience not as weakness but as strength. When others demand quick answers, she seeks divine direction. When others chase every opportunity, she waits for the one God appoints. Her wisdom gives her clarity. When life becomes noisy, she doesn't allow pressure to push her out of purpose. Even in moments of uncertainty, she carries quiet assurance because she has learned that God's timing is never wrong. She would rather move slowly with God than run ahead without Him. This wisdom also shows in her relationships. The chosen woman doesn't allow everyone to have access to her heart. She knows that connection determines direction, so she chooses carefully who walks beside her. She recognizes those who are sent to build and those who are sent to drain. She forgives easily, but she does not return to places that God has closed. She loves deeply, but she has learned that love must also be guarded by discernment. She doesn't entertain gossip or confusion because she values peace more than popularity. Her inner circle is small, but it is strong, for she understands that divine purpose requires divine alignment. Her discernment gives her foresight, the ability to sense seasons before they change. When a new chapter is coming, her spirit feels it. When danger is near, she feels the stirring to pray. When opportunity is about to knock, she feels an unusual peace. This connection with the Spirit makes her sensitive yet stable. She may not know every detail, but she knows enough to trust God's leading. She doesn't panic when things shift suddenly because she has seen God turn transitions into triumphs before. Her wisdom allows her to interpret spiritual signals that others might miss, and that discernment keeps her aligned with heaven's rhythm. The chosen woman's wisdom is also revealed in her words. She doesn't speak carelessly. Her tongue is guided by grace. When she speaks, her words bring peace to troubled hearts and direction to confused minds. People often seek her advice not because she knows everything, but because she carries divine perspective. She speaks truth with gentleness, correction with compassion, and encouragement with conviction. Her words carry weight because they come from revelation, not reaction. She has learned that silence can be more powerful than speech, and sometimes her greatest wisdom is knowing when to stay quiet. Her discernment also allows her to recognize divine opportunities that others overlook. While others are distracted by what glitters, she sees what is truly gold. She can recognize potential in people when others see only flaws. She invests in those who carry hidden greatness because she senses what God is shaping within them. This wisdom makes her a builder of people, families, and destinies. She becomes a voice of clarity in times of confusion, a light in dark places, and a safe place for those who are lost. Her presence brings order because her spirit carries understanding, yet this gift of discernment does not make her proud, it makes her humble. She knows that her insight comes not from her mind, but from the Spirit of God. She remains teachable, always seeking more of His wisdom. Every day she prays, Lord, give me eyes to see what you see and ears to hear what you speak. That prayer keeps her heart pure and her steps aligned. Her wisdom doesn't make her rigid. It makes her flexible in the hands of God. She moves when He says move and waits when He says wait. Because of this spirit of wisdom and discernment, the chosen woman becomes a pillar in her generation. Others come to her for counsel, for comfort, and for clarity. She doesn't need a title or platform to make impact. Her life itself becomes a message of divine intelligence and grace. Her discernment protects her destiny. Her wisdom sustains her purpose, and her humility keeps her usable in God's hands. She walks with quiet strength, seeing what others miss, hearing what others ignore, and following the gentle whisper of the Spirit that leads her into victory again and again. The chosen woman carries a mantle of influence and grace that cannot be explained by human effort. It is not something she earns through status, appearance, or talent. It is something she carries because of the divine hand upon her life. Wherever she goes, she leaves a fragrance of peace and strength. People may not fully understand why they are drawn to her, but it is because her presence carries the atmosphere of heaven. She does not chase influence. She attracts it through character, humility, and faithfulness. Her grace is her power. It is the quiet radiance that shines even when she speaks softly, the authority that flows even when she walks in silence. The chosen woman does not strive to be seen. She simply reflects the light of the one who called her. When God places His mantle upon a woman, everything about her changes. She begins to walk differently, speak differently, and carry herself with a new kind of confidence. But this confidence is not arrogance. It is rooted in divine assurance. She knows that she is not who she is because of what she has done, but because of what God has done through her. Her influence is not about position. It's about presence. When she enters a room, heaviness lifts, hope rises, and hearts find peace. She doesn't have to announce who she is. Her Spirit does. The grace upon her life speaks louder than any title. The mantle of influence that rests upon the chosen woman is born from obedience. She has said yes to God in seasons when it cost her everything. She has chosen faith over comfort, surrender over control, and love over bitterness. Every hidden act of obedience became a seed that produced visible favor. People often see the fruit of her life, but not the roots of her sacrifice. They see her strength, but not the tears that watered it. Yet heaven remembers, and because she was faithful in the small things, God now trusts her with the great. Her influence extends beyond words. It flows from a life that has been tested, purified, and proven in the fire. Grace gives her the ability to do what others cannot, not because she is better, but because she is anointed. Where others strive, she flows. Where others fear, she stands. Doors open for her that remain closed for others, not through manipulation or ambition, but through divine favor. This grace protects her from comparison because she knows that her lane is unique. She doesn't envy another's path. She celebrates it. The chosen woman understands that true influence is not about being ahead of others, but about lifting others. As you rise, her grace empowers, her words encourage, and her presence heals. Even in adversity, her grace remains. When people oppose her or misunderstand her, she doesn't retaliate. Grace gives her the strength to bless those who curse her, to forgive those who hurt her, and to love those who reject her. Her responses reveal her maturity. She doesn't allow bitterness to stain her heart because she knows that offense destroys anointing. She keeps her spirit pure, her motives clean, and her focus fixed on the higher purpose. That purity of heart becomes the source of her continuing favor. Grace follows her because she refuses to let darkness dwell within her. The mantle she carries also brings responsibility. Her influence is not meant for personal elevation, but for divine transformation. Wherever she goes, she carries solutions. When she speaks, wisdom flows. When she prays, doors open. When she serves, lives change. People may call her strong, but she knows it is not her strength. It is grace working through her weakness. She gives glory to God in every success because she knows she is merely the vessel. The more she surrenders, the more God uses her. Her humility becomes the crown that grace rests upon. Because of this mantle, she becomes a beacon to others. Younger women look to her for guidance. Broken hearts find comfort in her presence, and weary souls find faith through her story. She doesn't need to preach a sermon. Her life preaches every day. The way she handles challenges, honors others, and carries herself with dignity becomes her testimony. Her influence is not loud. It is lasting. It doesn't demand attention. It commands respect. The chosen woman leaves a legacy wherever she goes. Not just of success, but of spiritual impact. There is something magnetic yet peaceful about her. People may come to her for advice, but they leave with more than words. They leave with renewed hope. That is the grace she carries. It flows through her laughter, her silence, her prayer, and her presence. When she walks through trials, grace covers her. When she stands before opportunities, grace promotes her. Even when she fails, grace restores her. Her entire life becomes a display of God's unearned favor. The mantle of influence and grace is not just about how far she rises, it's about how deeply she loves, how wisely she leads, and how faithfully she serves. The chosen woman doesn't need to prove herself because her life already proves the power of God. Wherever she goes, she represents the kingdom, not through noise but through nurture, not through control but through compassion. Her influence is sacred, her grace unexplainable, and her presence unforgettable. She is not just admired, she is anointed, and through her life, the world catches a glimpse of heaven's beauty clothed in human form, the reflection of divine grace wrapped in the heart of a chosen woman.